And welcome back to Patience is a Virtue, the YouTube channel devoted to finding value in futures wagering. I'm your host, Andrew, and today we will be looking at the odds for the WNBA Player of the Year award. The WNBA season starts on May 16th, so this is the perfect time to start building your portfolio for the Player of the Year award. Let's start by looking at the odds. Here are the best prices at the common sportsbooks. We have Caitlin Clark as the favorite at plus 220 at DraftKings, Asia Wilson plus 230 at FanDuel, Nafisa Collier at plus 400 at DraftKings, Brianna Stewart plus 1400 at FanDuel, Sabrina Ionescu at plus 2500 on MGM, Satu Sabali at plus 4000 on DraftKings, and then everybody else is longer than that. So as you can see, we have three clear favorites and then basically everybody else. So awards like the Player of the Year award are often based on some historical data. So let's take a look back at the past 17 years, or looking back over the past 17 years, I should say. Here are the average stats for the winners. Points per game is about 20.4. Rebounds per game is 9.0. Assists per game is 2.6. Effective field goal percentage, 0.545. Offensive rating of plus 119. And offensive win shares, 5.21. And regular season finish for their team is 1.9. So basically, you're looking for somebody who's going to finish in the top two, possibly the top three. Asia Wilson won it last year, and the Aces finished in fourth place, and that was quite odd for them to be in fourth place and for her to still end up winning that award. So if we take a look at the players who will fit into this criteria from last year, based on last year's numbers, that is, we can see that the list gets reduced down to about three main contenders. And I do agree that they are the most likely players to win the award, and they should be at the top of the board at the end of this season. And those players are, of course, Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, and Nafisa Collier. So let's take a quick look at each of them. So Caitlin Clark really has the narrative and is arguably the face of the league, or at least one of the faces of the league. And the narrative can be a huge part of this award because it's going to be voted on, and a lot of people love a great story. So if you've got a great story with the player, that's going to really translate into having a much better chance of winning an award. And Caitlin Clark definitely has that. So the WNBA probably would like her to actually win this award. And while I don't think there actually is any kind of conspiracy, the voters are certainly going to know the importance of her, of what she plays in the league. I mean, the viewership is up, revenue is up, and that is mainly due to Caitlin Clark's impact last year. She's the reigning Rookie of the Year, and she led the league in assists last season. In addition, the Fever had made a lot of big changes to their roster, and they're really hoping to contend for a title. And they are one of the title favorites. I think they're in the top four in terms of the odds. So people are expecting big things from the Fever, and Caitlin Clark is their leader. So really, if the Fever are able to achieve their goal of getting towards the top of the WNBA, and they can be in one of those top three seeds, they have a high-powered offense, which is what everybody expects, and a little bit of an improved defense from their new coach, Stephanie White. I do think that she has a real chance of winning this award, especially when you take a look at the fact that she really does have that narrative. The biggest question is this going to be too big of a jump? She's still young. This is only her second year, so will she be able to do it? That's what we're going to have to try and find out. Next up, we're going to have Asia Wilson. Now, she's won 3 of the last 5 MVP awards, so she certainly has the pedigree to be able to win. She was the leading scorer last year across the entire WNBA, and she's generally believed to be the best player in the league. If you ask most people, they're probably going to say Asia Wilson is the best player in the W. That being said, I do have a couple questions about her candidacy for this year. First, are the Aces going to continue to be one of the dominant teams in the league? They have been at the top for the past few seasons, but they did lose some key players this past offseason, one of which was Kelsey Plum, and she's, I think, she's about number 5 on the MVP awards, if you're curious. So I think there's going to be more that's going to fall on Asia Wilson's shoulders. And I think it's also possible that the Aces are going to have a little bit of a drop off in their production, and that could translate into wins as well. Now, being the leading player on the Aces, of course, it is going to help our stats if players like Kelsey Plum have already left. But with the overall improvement of players across the league in the W, I wouldn't be surprised, again, if the Aces do take a little bit of a dip in terms of their production this year and their wins. And so I don't know if Asia Wilson she might be kind of docked for that as the leader of the Aces. If the Aces do not make it up into the top 3 or top 4, that might really hurt her candidacy. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. My second question about Asia Wilson is whether or not there's going to be any kind of voter fatigue with her trying to win the award again. Again, this would be her fourth time in 6 years. And that would be I'm sorry, yeah, her fourth time in 6 years. That'd be pretty unprecedented. Are they going to look to give it to somebody else? I don't really know. It might not even matter what kind of stats that Asia is able to put up. People might just want to give the award to somebody else this year. In the past 17 years, there has not actually been a repeat champion. So while I do think she's going to have a good year, I personally am going to be cautious about playing her. I will probably have her in my portfolio because she's too good a player to not have in your portfolio. But I'm not going to go heavy on Asia Wilson. I think there's a good opportunity to go with some other players, and I think it's going to be a little bit harder for her to win it again this year. But she is definitely one of the deserving candidates for the award. Third person I want to talk about is Nafisa Collier. Now, she's one of the most electric players from last year, and that really might spring her to really being a contender for the MVP this year. She was the driving force behind Minnesota's trip to the finals, and near championship, they came within seconds of winning the championship last year. And she really is the main reason behind why the Lynx are one of the favorites to win the WNBA title this year. She ranked towards the top of the league last year in all the major categories, including points, rebounds, blocks, and win shares, and she's known as one of the best defensive players in the league. So I really do expect a lot out of her, and I think she's going to. I think she's going to meet those challenges. I think she's going to meet those expectations. So as of right now, I'm actually going to stay away from anybody outside of the top three. That doesn't mean that I might not add a position later on one of these players if they're really starting to show some promise and maybe their odds dip just a little bit. I might want to jump in before the odds get too low. But right now, I just want to focus on getting those front runners in to start building my portfolio. I think you definitely want to grab that number on Collier at DraftKings. Again, that was plus 400 because really I can only see it going down from here. It's just going to get shorter and shorter. So I would probably jump on that as quick as you can. I have already placed a bet on her. Right now, that is the only position I have is on Collier, but I'm looking to add Asia and Caitlin Clark if I can find the right number and maybe find some good bonuses at one of these sportsbook to try and increase that number as well. If you're looking to add Caitlin or Asia Wilson, or if you just want to start off with one of them, maybe you're not quite certain about Nafisa's candidacy, I would really look to just start off with one and then maybe add a second one a little bit later on. Because they have very close to the same odds, it's hard to get a whole lot of value out of having both of them at the same time. What you really want to do is try to target whichever one you think is going to have their odds drop and shorten, which means by correlation, everybody else's might go a little bit, might get a little bit longer if somebody is really starting off with a breakout year. And then you want to add a second person or a third person to try and get a better number to try and even that out. If you're trying to add Nafisa Collier and Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson all at the same time, you're really going to kill any profit that you're going to get if you can even make a profit off that or not. That'll be pretty difficult, especially with Asia and Caitlin having basically the same number. And that's why you definitely want to add Nafisa Collier because her number is long enough that you can get a good position on her, and then you can try to add in somebody else a little bit later on to sort of balance that out if you need to. So that's going to be it for this episode. Always remember to gamble responsibly, never risk any more than you can lose, and remember, patience is a virtue.